Welcome back, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports Podcast, the college offseason podcast. Matt is not here, so I get to say this, where we're less of the regular season, but more of the offseason. Ryan and I today are going to talk all about the newbies, the top newcomers for each of their respected college football teams. Whether it be through the recruiting cycle, whether it be through the transfer portal, Ryan and I have a top five of the most impactful players playing for their new team this season. I'm going to take the ones from the recruiting cycle, given that I am the self-proclaimed recruiting expert on this show. Ryan is going to take his top five transfer portal guys that he thinks is going to have the biggest impact for their new teams. But of course, just so we don't be too biased here, because we stretch that fair word a little to its maximum on this show. Our honorable mentions will be both from our respective teams. So I'm going to have two honorable mentions from Texas and Duke. Ryan's going to have two honorable mentions from U of L and Ohio State. And that's how this is going to go. And what we want you to do is after we get done with our list, let us know in the comments section who are going to be the most impactful newcomers to their respective teams. Let us know in the comments. And before we get started, Ryan, is there anything you want to get off your chest before we get started?
Um, you know, I actually don't have anything on my chest right now because it's kind of like a dead period besides like watching NBA playoffs. So there's not much going on. So we're trying to create some some stuff like around college football. We're trying to do it as best as we can. All right.
Well, there's always stuff going on. I mean, Jackson Cantwell just went to Miami. Oh, did you see, speaking of which, did you see
Miami
that
is not back.
Miami's not back?
No.
I think they're here to stay.
All right. Well, I mean,
Is Carson Beck the answer? That is the million-dollar question. Did he really cheat on one of the Cavender twins? That the pivoting questions we ask here on the Less is More Sports
I
podcast.
think they're they're kind of pushing it. I think he's a good guy. All right, he doesn't deserve all that hate.
Apparently, he has no friends. Hey, the reference to the draft day quarterback Callahan was golden. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw that.
yeah, I did. That was.
That was golden, but that's funny. Does Carson Beck have friends? Let us know in the comments.
I mean,
I don't
it,
know him. I'm not his friend, so I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I would assume his teammates would be his friends.
I would assume Bo Callahan's teammates would have been his friends too, but nobody showed up to his birthday party.
It's not a good look.
That is still a wild answer. Did any of your teammates go to your birthday party, Bo? That is a wild interview.
I mean, I heard reports that nobody went to Shador's birthday party.
I have you know, just a feeling that is not true.
You
Just
I'm
a
actually
gut
excited to
feeling.
watch Shador for the Browns because I'm a Browns fan.
I was about to
I'm
say, yeah,
excited
you're a
about it.
Browns fan. You better hope Shador is really good.
Yo, he should
Well,
be. I think we could have made a better pick than Dylan Gabriel, but one of them has to work out.
I see I am one of the lone people that is sold on Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel, I apologize.
Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel. Gillen Gabriel.
Yep.
Little tongue
No,
twister
but
there.
I've just heard he struggled in camp so far, so I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll use those preseason games wisely and see how they do. Not that that's at full strength, but
Fair
we'll
enough.
see.
So without further ado, I think it's officially time we get started on our list so we don't run out of time. So who are your honorable mentions?
Okay, so obviously going with Ohio State and Louisville. Starting with Louisville, I think it's pretty simple. I'm just gonna go with Miller Moss, who's gonna be our starting quarterback. A very he's going into a pro style QB uh, type with under Jeff Brom. I think that he will do really well. He's a very good. He has a very good arm. He's a great distributor, great game manager, and whatever you say about game managing, the guy that was known as the game managing just got 265 million, and that is Brock Purdy. So game managing is not a bad thing. So I'm gonna go with Miller Moss. I think he will do really well. His number one receiver should be Colin Lacey, and he has two really good running backs alongside. So he is my pick for my honorable mention for the Louisville side. For Ohio State, you want me to go ahead and get my Ohio State?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. From Ohio State, we only got a couple players, but I feel like we got some good needs. One in being Max Clare, who is a very versatile tight end. I love him as a player and him coming in because we've always had the receivers and you've always had to worry about him, but now you got to worry about a tight end that is a very good route runner, very good catcher, and he's super athletic. I think that he will be the best. He will end up being the best tight end in the country next year. That take we'll just have to wait and see, but um, he will add a great addition into Ohio State's pass game, and I am so glad he committed here.
Fair enough. So I'm going to go ahead and give my honorable mentions, and then when we get to our top five, we're going to alternate. So when I give my five, or when
Gotcha.
Ryan gives us five, then I'll give my five, and then so on and so on and so on. So with my first honorable mention, I got to go with my Texas Longhorns first, and the Longhorns have a two sports superstar on their hands. I don't know how much of our audience has been watching what Jonah Williams has been able to do on the diamond, but he's been nothing short of spectacular. And you might be wondering, what does any of that have to do with him being an impact on the Texas football team this year? Well, given where Texas's football roster is right now, I don't expect a ton of the freshmen to get a ton of minutes this year. But when you have a captivating freshman like this that is already, you know, presenting himself with the ability to have the fan base buy in, that's got to count for something. And Jonah Williams is a talented football player, absolutely. When he gets his time, he will be a very good player. So with him doing what he's doing on the diamond and really captivating that Longhorn fan base, that is why he is my most impactful freshman for Texas. And as far as Duke goes, it's been a weird dynamic. And, there's been a TikTok video that I posted that is still getting likes probably as we speak right now. But there's this weird dynamic we have with Bryce Davis and Bradley Gompers almost alternating week by week on who is the highest graded Duke recruit of all time. But the one I went with for today's episode is Brian Davis because he is a very good four-star edge rusher. And being from the state of North Carolina, he's a big name recruit to get, to buy the local crowd in and come in and have the opportunity to make an instant impact right away. So that's why with my second honorable mention for Duke, I have Bryce Davis, who currently is the highest ranked recruit in Duke history. But as we've seen, week by week, it changes.
I saw that video of Jonah Williams chirping at the pitcher. That
Oh,
was one
yeah.
of the most electrifying at bats that I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Jonah Williams is a two-sport superstar. He has superstar written all over him.
Yeah, so is Les Abbott. All right.
Oh, thank you. Even though I'm a little past my prime, but as an
What's
athlete,
your? I know basketball's one. What's the other one?
swimming.
Okay. All
I
right.
know that I know that sounds weird because like it's two winter sports, but like I mean, yeah, that's a story
Can you
for
do it at
another.
the same time, or is it you
Uh,
gotta?
hey, pool basketball. That's my new sport that I'm
Or,
coming up with.
it's a great sport. All right,
It
it's fun.
is. It needs to be. It needs to have teams, like an
Yes.
actual like what's the word I'm looking for? High school teams need to have water basketball.
Yeah,
I
and
will
that would be
overpower
fun.
everybody and just dunk on them.
Yeah,
But
but
anyways, yeah, it's time to get into your number five. Who is your number five newcomer from the portal?
so I actually did not like rank them, but I'm just gonna just look at the names and what I think that would be number five. I I tried to find, I was going through the list of transfer portal players, and I was trying to find like some of the diamond in a rough type of players, just how they were ranked. Sometimes, most time, the rankings don't matter because some of the lower ranked players could be really good, and some of the higher ranked players could be just mid. But I'm gonna go Traver Pena, wide receiver from Syracuse, going to Penn State. He will help this wide receiver room in Penn State tremendously because they definitely need it. They learned when Julian Fleming came over there that they need to hit the jugs machine more. But he's a very good slot receiver with great route running and hands. He'll do anything you ask him to. He's a good blocker too. He had 941 yards and 9 touchdowns last year at Syracuse. and he will have a great impact early. He was that receiver that asked for, I think it was 2 million to Fran Brown and the Syracuse coaching staff. What are you looking at like that?
My notes.
You look goofy. It's
I
okay.
always look goofy. You don't have to hate on me for it.
But yeah, he was the wide receiver that asked for 2 million to the coaching staff of Syracuse, and of course I'm gonna bring him up. Fran Brown was like the only kid that can ask for that much is Jeremiah Smith, that dog at Ohio State. But yeah, he will have a great impact on the Penn State wide receiver room and give Drew Aller another target to throw to next year.
Because we know he needs it.
Yes.
Anyways, coming in at my number five, I already did a TikTok video on this kid, but it is Carday Smith, the offensive tackle for Colorado, and we've seen the numbers. Colorado's offensive line these last couple years has been horrible. And when you have a young player like this that has come into camp and is already generating this kind of buzz, this only can lead to good things. So it's not like Colorado's offensive line can get any worse. So with Carday Smith, I think he has a chance to be one of the most impactful freshmen this year on that offensive line. And
You,
maybe, just maybe, Julian Lewis will not get sacked as much as Shador Sanders did last year.
you think Shador is mad if the offensive lineman is good?
Oh, I'd be heated. Be like, why couldn't y'all protect me like that?
I mean, he was not protected at all.
Not before we get into our number four, I do want to say is I've been hearing a lot of people talk about, compare other quarterbacks that have slid that maybe have or haven't slid in the draft, that actually had legitimate off-field problems, and they're like, oh, well, the reason they didn't slide like Shador is because, they were like 100 times better or whatever. I'm like, and some of them, I'm just like, okay, really? Like the name that got me was Baker Mayfield. And don't get me wrong, Baker Mayfield was awesome. You know, when you're an Oklahoma starting quarterback, and I'm a fan being a Texas fan, you're pretty good. But here's the thing, man. Can you imagine if Shador Sanders had Baker's offensive line, not to mention having CeeDee Lamb on one side, Hollywood Brown on the other, Mark Andrews as a tight end, and Joe Mixon in the run and the backfield? Like, can you imagine what Shador would have done? I'm just saying, like, that is not a fair comparison at all. So if you're comparing Baker to Shador, that is just stupid. Like, it compares Shador to someone else that has, relative talent around him. Don't compare him to a guy who literally had a Pro Bowl roster around him.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has seen that video. I think he got tackled in it. Baker Mayfield getting tackled by the police and like
Yeah.
hitting like the side of the wall or something like that.
Yeah, he tried to take off and it did not work out in his favor.
I mean, the amount of times when we were watching that draft, when we were about to draft him, the amount of times that I saw that video was, I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, it's
All right, well,
coming in at your number four, who we got?
my number four, I'm gonna go with Jaden Ott going from Cal to Oklahoma, running back. On the reports, I saw that he will be most likely the top back in a pretty deep, honestly, running back room with Taylor Tatum, Gavin Sawchuk, and other names. But he's a complete back and very physical too. He has a burst and that long speed that will create separation in the open field. In the open field, he can make you miss with a simple wiggle. Um,
Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Da 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 da.
he is one of those backs that has that wiggle. And Oklahoma has had some good running backs in the past, so he will I think he will impact early and excel in a very good running back room in Oklahoma, and they could be much improved next year, by the way. Watch
Uh,
out, Texas.
Unfortunately, they could be,
Yeah.
but we ain't scared. Was that who was it? Billy Bowman or the linebacker? I'm blanking on his name. But who was?
Um uh what's his name? Started with like a D.
Oh, Danny Stuntman. Danny Stuntman.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. What did he drop the quote that said, Oklahoma fears God, Texas fears Oklahoma, or some BS like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was 100% correct. Like
Well, I mean, it clearly was not. I mean that from that first touchdown where I think what was it? Blue, I can't remember if it was Blue or Wisner, but they were running and then they fumble, but then Silas Bolden comes out of nowhere and then recovers the fumble for the touchdown in the game last year. Ever since then, it just went downhill very fast.
I always love watching the Red River Showdown or
Oh, I
Red
do
River
too.
rivalry.
I do too.
Well, I know you do, but as an Ohio State fan, if we're not playing at the same time, then I'll watch it for sure because it's always a blast watching it, and it seems like it's one of those games. I don't know if like you ever think about this. It's like you feel like the crowd is just like there's no field space besides like the actual field. Like there's no space out of bounds. That like the crowd is just like on top of the field. Like it's one of those type of games that are just has so much pressure to it. It's always entertaining too. So
Absolutely.
props to you.
Thank you. I don't know if I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Have you ever been to a Texas game?
No, I haven't. That's on my bucket list.
Well, that would be a great thing to do.
Does it have to be at Darrell K. Royal or does it have to just be a game Texas
No,
plays in?
anywhere. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
because I think with them playing,
closest place probably right now would be whenever they play at Kentucky.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm looking into. So I'm gonna have to go to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we get too sidetracked, coming in at my number four, it kind of runs in the family because Ozay Epenza, the defensive lineman recruit for Iowa, is the younger brother of former Iowa standout AJ Epenza, and who is also currently playing for the Buffalo Bills. With a 5-star and a 98 grade, he is by far the best player in Iowa's recruiting class, and he has a chance to start right away and leave his mark on the Iowa program just like Big Bro. It runs in the family with the Apenzas.
Depends. I'm
The
trying to
Apenzas,
figure out who my number three is going to be. All right. I got it. You want me to go?
please. Yes,
Okay. Well, my number three, and I think this commitment just feels right. It's Barryon Brown, wide receiver from Kentucky, going to LSU. This just feels right with how well LSU has done at receiver pretty recently. He's a speed demon that is going to a great wide receiver school. He's going to learn a lot, excel his game in many different ways. I expect him to be Nussmeier's number one target, alongside Nick Anderson, coming from I think it's Oklahoma. But yeah, he will improve his game. He would be higher on my list if he was going to be that for sure number one, because I mean Nick Anderson is also a great player, but I've seen a lot of Barry on Brown, and I think that um, he could certainly be one of the best receivers in the nation, and he is that guy that will just take the top off your defense if you're not careful. So yeah, I at my three spot I have Barry on Brown going to LSU wide receiver.
coming in at my number three, I have an offensive tackle for Georgia by the name of Josh Petty. And after his final recruiting grade, anytime you are the second highest ranked recruit in program history, and the first is literally Megatron, you probably got some game.
Yeah,
And don't look now, but Georgia Tech is quietly becoming one of the best offensive line units in college football. They were projected to finish 58th in overall pass protection at the beginning of last year, but by season's end has reached the tally of 10th in all of college football. When you have a recruit as talented as Josh Petty, the potential of the Georgia Tech offensive line goes through the roof. So that's why Josh Petty is my number three most impactful freshman coming into this year.
with my number two transfer portal players impactful, I'm gonna go with Dylan Thieneman, who I really wanted as a safety to line him up against Caleb Downs. He obviously safety from Purdue going to Oregon. He's a very good player, very fundamentally sound, can do everything. He's one of those. Obviously, he's from Purdue, but he's one of those Purdue slash like Iowa safeties that just does everything well, and you are surprised that he's that good and and has learned a lot since he's got there his freshman year. But He's always around the ball and is not afraid of contact. He's a very good player. He will make a huge impact on this Oregon secondary that surely needs it because Jeremiah Smith absolutely torched their whole defensive back and safety rooms. So, yeah, he will have a great impact and will make that defense even better than it is.
Ironically enough, coming in at my number two pick, I also have an Oregon player in Decorian Moore. And you know you're a really good player when, being that he's from the state of Texas, we all stayed up on July 4th last year where he was going to announce his collegiate decision, where he was going to be playing. And when he announced that he was going to be going to Oregon last year, it seemed like all of Longhorn Nation just absolutely freaked out. But of course, Texas would go on to have the number one ranked recruiting class this year, and the rest is history. But still, that doesn't change the fact that Decory and Moore can absolutely play. He's very Odell Beckham Jr. like to me. Can just make that spectacular catch, very good route runner. I expect him, with the loss of Tez Johnson, to come in and be an instant impact wide receiver for the Ducks year one.
What is the best state for football recruits?
I tried to ask the fans that, and we got a lot of decent feedback. I think regardless, it has to be between Texas and Florida.
100%. Yeah. And then watch out for these Kentucky guys, you know.
Stop the cap. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but stop the cap.
We're gonna we're gonna market Kentucky
Speaking to the mic,
football.
please. There we go. You were cutting
What?
out.
What?
You heard me.
What?
You heard me.
We're gonna market Kentucky football recruits. Get them higher.
Who is the number one ranked recruit in Kentucky high school football right now, off the
Not
top of
sure.
the dome?
Not sure.
You're already off to a tough start.
Not sure.
There
Because
you go. Well, you're not even in Kentucky anymore. You're a Hoosier now.
I'm not a Hoosier. Don't even say that. I'm not.
You're an
I'm
indie
from
animal.
Louisville. I'm from Louisville. I'm not a Hoosier though.
Do you rep that indie animal song? You play that every day on your way to school. Wait, you're not even in school right now. You graduated.
I no,
Congratulations.
I'm still in school. I got till May 30th.
That's that'll be here before you know it.
You know, my sister just graduated and they from IU and they sang their like the IU song and I did not know a word.
Well, you don't have to. You're
Proves
not
that I'm not a
you're not
Hoosier.
a you're not a student there.
Well, I mean, but around the state of Indiana, a lot of people know the fight song.
Oh yeah, but you're also not a Hoosiers fan either. It's not something. In other words, that's not something you have to know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I don't. But uh, this is my number one, right?
Yes.
My number one transfer portal player that have the biggest impact, and we are actually on the topic, which is crazy. Fernando Mendoza going from another Cal player going to another Cal player, but he's going to Indiana. He's a big quarterback, 6'5", 225, but he's very athletic. He can make all the throws. Don't worry, Indiana. He can make that back shoulder throw. Don't worry. You can still have that in the game plan. But he will do great under Sig and bring and has a chance to bring Indiana back to where they were last season, inside the top 10, top 15. Um, but yeah, he's a very profile quarterback. Could have gone in the NFL draft, but decided to come back and have another round in college. But he's a very tall, uh, big, powerful quarterback that is very athletic, and he is very tough, can take hits, all of that. Yeah. So Fernando Mendoza, quarterback going to Indiana, my number one impactful player in the transfer portal.
To wrap up our top five,
I kind of stuttered there, but I couldn't think of what I was going to say.
he's just a captivating recruit. You just are a lot. You're just lost for words.
I know. I
He's just
mean,
that captivating of a transfer.
no Diddy takes my breath away.
I wasn't even gonna say it, but
We were going there. We were going there.
I think you were going there. You
You
got
were
get your mind out of the gutter, Ryan.
you were there too.
I stay there. You're right. I live in the gutter at this point. I've made my bed. I least sleep in it now.
Check
Oh,
that.
coming in at number one, just so we don't run out of time here. My number one impactful freshman is none other than Bryce Underwood. And look, I don't care about the spring game. It does not tell the whole story. At the end of the day, Michigan needs a quarterback, and Bryce Underwood is as talented as any. Anytime you are getting any kind of player comps to Vince Young, you have to be a talented prospect. So Bryce Underwood has a chance to be the most impactful player in this recruiting cycle. That's all I have to say.
You think he will be the best
I think he
quarterback?
can. I think he can be.
But do you think he will be the best?
I
Less.
cannot hear you at all.
Do you think
Much better.
he will be the best quarterback in this class?
Probably, actually, yeah.
Does Texas have someone? Isn't it like KJ
KJ
Lacey?
Lacey.
Yeah.
KJ
Yeah.
Lacey's good, but that's going to be interesting because whenever Arch Manning decides to leave for the NFL, it's going to be a very strong conversation who's going to start between KJ Lacey or another highly touted quarterback prospect in Bell.
Yeah. Yeah, he's coming in next year. Yep, you are right.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see who gets the start.
Yeah, this is my list. My transfer portal list.
Read them off one more time.
Okay, so honorable mentions was for Louisville, Miller Moss. For Ohio State, Max Clare. My number 5 was Traber Pena going to Penn State. Number 4 was Jaden Ott, running back, Oklahoma. Number 3 was Barryon Brown, wide receiver, going to LSU. Number 2 was Dylan Thieneman, safety, going to Oregon, and they're still not going to win anything. And number 1 was Fernando Mendoza, going to Indiana.
Fair enough. My honorable mentions going to Texas next year, Jonah Williams, the two sports superstar. My another honorable mention for Duke is Bryce Davis, the edge rusher, who is the at the time highest ranked recruit in Duke football history. Number five, I have Carday Smith, offensive tackle for Colorado. Number four, I have Jose Apinza, the defensive lineman going to Iowa. Number three, I have Josh Petty, the offensive tackle going to Georgia Tech. Number two, I have Decorian Moore, wide receiver going to Oregon. And number one, I have Bryce Underwood, quarterback for Michigan. And we flew through that wrist list. Look at the flick of the wrist as I throw my notes down.
Yeah, we did fly through that. Hey, Bean. Bean's head's cut off. But what a nice Saturday it is. I mean, I don't see a cloud in the sky from where I can look.
Man, it's a lot better than last night, I'll tell you that much.
Yes. Yes, but how bad was your weather?
We got like 82-mile-an-hour winds, but that was it. Luckily, no damage. Honestly, this is totally first world problems here, but literally the worst thing that came out of the storm last night is that right in the middle of playing MLB The Show, I was in the mini seasons and my power cut off just for the split second. But of course, it was enough to shut my PS5 down and give me a loss on the mini season. That was my first loss of the season, and it came on a power outage.
So does it count? Like, does it count in your mind?
My mind, no, but on the game it does, and that's really kind of all that matters.
It's
My mind's kind
unfortunate.
of irrelevant. My opinion's kind of irrelevant at that point.
It's unfortunate. I've been playing a lot of 2K recently. There's you know, people want kindness in this world, and people to be nice, and it doesn't get much worse than on 2K chats. If you ever have your mic on, or if you ever just hear them, I mean, that is the most hateful place ever.
Is it worse than the old Call of Duty lobbies?
I
Those
don't
were
know how
brutal
much
back in
I
the day.
experienced those, but I feel like it's maybe up to that level. Like they do not care to absolutely clown you if you are bad. And I'm a big man, so they usually come after me.
Can you defend the pick and rolls at least?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
that you got
seven
that going
foot
for it.
three,
Man,
7'3", like 260 pounds.
and you can defend the pick and rolls? That low key should be scary.
Yeah, it's just like my player makes me so mad because he'll miss like simple shots and it makes no sense. Like he'll be under the rim and he's not a bad overall. He's like 82. I don't know. I'm
Maybe you
gonna
just
blame it
need.
on 2K.
I think you just need to have Bean play for you.
Yeah,
2K be calling the wildest stuff sometimes.
yeah. They kind of do too much. No, I don't even play my team at all. Like I don't. The only like my team type of gameplay that I play is Diamond Dynasty. Not
Yeah.
even not even like on Madden. It's literally just Diamond Dynasty.
I mean, I play my team on 2K and I built like quite the squad with the last my team I had. It was good. I had Luka Doncic. I had Klay Thompson starting. No, I had Dwayne Wade starting at my two. Klay Thompson is my six man coming off the bench. I would start Paulo Banchero at my three, have Kevin Durant at my four, and then I think I had DeMarcus Cousins at my five. And like in game, DeMarcus Cousins is an absolute demon.
All right, so go through your offense on who's going to be the starter at each position on Texas going into the Ohio State game.
Like the
Arch
whole,
Manning,
obviously Arch Manning. I would think Quintravion Wisner is going to be start at running back. CJ Baxter's coming off the injury from last
yeah.
year, so I think they're going to try to slowly work him in. Our receivers definitely going to be DJ Moore, Ryan Wingo, and that. And according to all the Texas beat writers, that battle for the third receiver is going to be quite the interesting battle. But I think it's going to be Emmett Mosley, the transfer from Stanford. Tight end is going to be an interesting one. I know because we just landed Jack injuries from Cal, but I think it could potentially be like last year's transfer portal cycle where we landed Amari Knee-Black, but Gunnar Helm took that next step and ended up being
Yeah.
our stud tight end. I think it's going to be a very similar situation this year with a tight end we already have on the roster named Juan Davis. So I think that's who's going to start our tight end. Offensive line, of course, Trevor Goosby is going to be on there. I'll say DJ Campbell came back. So, I mean, and then, of course, they're battling for the position battles right now. So,
I'll go through mine real quick since we have some time. It should be Julian Sayin as quarterback. Running back might be CJ Donaldson. It's really between him and James Peoples. Wide receiver one, we all know it's Jeremiah JJ Smith. Wide receiver two will be Carnell Tate, and then three I think is a fight between Brandon Ennis and Mylan Graham because Mylan Graham has taken that next step because he came in the summer last year, so he really missed a ton of time with like some of like the winter workouts and spring ball. But tight end obviously will be Max Clare, who I'm very excited about. Offensive lineman, we got Ethan Onienwa. I think maybe that's how you say his last name. He's transferred from Rice. We got Austin Sierraville. We got Tegra Shabola. Trying to think. We got Carson Hinsman, and the last one is I don't remember. I'm trying to think. You start talking, and I'll think about it.
what do you want me to say?
I don't know. I mean, you know,
You know what I think I'm going to do at the closer we actually get to game time is that you remember those videos I made during the college football playoff last year where I went down each position group for each matchup and said who was better and then let the people comment, let me know who was going to win.
yeah,
I'm gonna do that for Ohio State and Texas just because it's the it's the two top
yeah.
teams
I
for
remember that.
two of our fan bases. I mean, well, not two of our fan bases, two of the hosts on this show. So,
Yeah,
plus I love Ohio State fans on TikTok because they give me so much good feedback, so much interaction. Got mad respect for the Ohio State fans on TikTok.
yeah. I mean, we do a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. We do well. They, you all have a different kicker, so maybe you can win that.
Yeah, I mean, I there was no love lost when Bert Auburn decided to hit the portal.
There should be. There should be.
Why?
I don't know. I think the last our last offensive lineman that will be starting is Luke Montgomery. By the way, fun fact about Luke Montgomery, played on the same AAU team as Bronny James. Just a little fun fact when he was, I don't know, I want to say like between 13 and 15 maybe. But yeah, yeah, you should definitely do that, and the fans can compare the the positions. Obviously, they'll pick Julian Sand for quarterback.
Yeah.
That was a joke. Okay.
Yeah. They probably will. I mean, Julian Sand was a very highly ranked recruit, and
Yeah, but Arch Manning is Arch Manning. Like
you're right. I'm
he's a
glad to hear
Manning.
you say that. You know what? It is now podcast official. I have an Ohio State fan on the podcast saying Arch Manning is Arch Manning.
I'm just saying because he's a Manning and everyone knows Manning. So,
Yeah, and he's really good too.
but what do we think about changing the sport? What do we think about the NBA playoffs?
What the helly? What the helly, Burton? How about them
Um,
Pacers? I'm not even a
well,
Pacers
we
fan, but
got
this is
Pacers, Knicks, and then we got between the Thunder
and the
and
Nuggets.
the Nuggets, and then against going against the Timberwolves. What do we think? Game 7, I think, is tomorrow.
Um, Game 7, I think it's tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna check that real quick, but I kept thinking it was Saturday. That Saturday was Game 7
It's a
between the
race. It's a
Nuggets.
race to check it. Um,
No, it is tomorrow. You're right.
nope. Sunday, three
Tomorrow at
thirty.
3:30.
That's a terrible
Sunday at
time to have it.
3:30.
Whatever.
Huh?
I guess they just. I mean, 3:30. I guess that they don't want to get in front of like Sunday night baseball. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I'm glad it's at 3:30 because I got to work Monday morning. It gives me plenty of time to watch it. Did you say something? Your mouth moved, but nothing came out.
I said, "Oh, okay." But yeah, I mean,
What is the Sunday night baseball matchup anyway?
let me see. Are you a big baseball fan?
Yes, I am.
What's your team?
The St. Louis Cardinals.
That's
You should
unfortunate.
know that because we played in the show and I literally have St. Louis Cardinals bats.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't look at your bats, but I just saw the score of the first game.
You mean to
It
tell me
is.
you
Oh, it's a
weren't looking?
star. It's a sorry. It's a Subway Series. It's Mets Yankees.
Oh, that explains
It's
it.
it's
Yeah.
it's a rivalry.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
game kicked off yesterday with Juan Soto tipping his cap at the Yankees fans. But before we run out of time, as always, like and subscribe to Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channels to get the latest update we have on content coming out. Be sure to follow our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads. That's at Less is More Sports. Be sure to follow the side quest on TikTok. That's at BeansDad018. And yeah, Juan Soto got a pretty warm welcome from the Yankees, I would say.
Yeah, he did, and I mean, I think we expected it. Like he did just leave out of nowhere. But can we talk about how insane Shohei Ohtani is?
Yeah, he's best player in baseball in my opinion.
Who? Okay, before we leave, what player in any sport right now are we in the prime of that has the best prime right now?
Probably Shohei. Shohei or
Yeah,
Judge.
yeah, I think so.
Ironically, both MLB.
Yeah, are we in Jokic's prime?
Jokic, that's a good one too. Yes.